Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I always appreciate the time that we get to spend together. I know your time is valuable, and the fact that you're choosing to spend a couple of minutes of it with me, I'm very thankful and very appreciative. On today's video, I'm going to be recapping weeks number 15 and 16 of a 16-week marathon training program that I'm using to help me get to the Boston Marathon. I did have a bit of a hiccup this week, and we're going to talk, you know what, I'm just going to adjust that right now. Part of the reason I'm combining weeks 15 and 16 is, and during week 15, on a threshold run, I sprained my ankle, unfortunately. So I am injured at the moment. So much of at the end of week 15 and all of week 16, I have not been running. I've been out on my mountain bike on those days where the Garmin Marathon Training Program has workouts scheduled, and I won't run now until the Boston Marathon because I'm going to try to give my ankle as much rest as possible. It's not great. It doesn't feel great. The first day, it was super painful, and this happened at the very end of a threshold run, and some awkward terrain that I was running on. Whatever the reason, when I got back, probably, well, about the last 10 minutes of that workout, 10, 15 minutes of it, it was hurting. And by the time I got back, I just wanted to get off my ankle, and it felt a little bit worse even the next day. I'd hoped to wake up the next day and that would be just fine, just one of those one-off type deals, but that's not at all what happened. So I've been dealing with some ankle pain, and it's on the medial side, which is a little bit more unusual for a sprain. Typically, it would be more on the lateral side, so it's on the inner side of my ankle where it hurts the most. So I'm just doing the best that I can. I'm the first to admit, and I'll call myself out on this, the first couple of days, I threw myself the biggest pity party you have ever seen. Because, all of those negative thoughts that come into play, and the disappointment, and, just plain being depressed and sad over the fact that, I'm not going to be at my best come marathon day. But I've since really tried to change that mindset to take advantage of the fact that there's still a lot to celebrate and being in the Boston Marathon. And so I'm going to do everything I can to just soak up the entire Boston Marathon experience and enjoy it, and to be there to cheer all of you on, anybody that happens to be running that race or other races. I will certainly be sending you some positive thoughts and cheering you on to the finish line. I will heal to run better another day. It's just not right now. But I'll still be there, and I'll still be on the start line come marathon day on Monday, which is just a couple of days away. So I still have a couple of days for it to get feeling a little bit better, but I'm not going to be at 100%, and I'm certainly not going to be running a personal best. That's out of the question. My goals have changed simply to complete the marathon as a personal goal of mine. It might take me 5 or 6 hours. I have no idea. But I do plan to complete it on Monday, and to be there, like I said, to cheer on everyone else who, this is a huge accomplishment, and I want to be there to be able to experience it and celebrate it with all of you. So that's where I'm at. So now for the rest of this video, I'm going to go ahead and just cover the different workouts that I have completed. We'll start with, of course, with week 15, and that started out with some of its own challenges. So I'm going to kick it out to myself. I may not get this one in today. I may have to reschedule for tomorrow. We've got some severe thunderstorms, possibility of hail and tornadoes. I'm hoping to try to get this run in before all of that happens, but I don't know. Fingers crossed. I'm going to give it a try. Woo, we just saw a little bit of lightning. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, the things we do. I'll try to give you a picture of what's happening right now. So, it's already started to pour. We'll just have to postpone until, maybe later this afternoon if if the storms let up, we'll see. Otherwise, I might just have to reschedule for tomorrow, which isn't a bad thing. Gotta go with the flow. Gotta adapt or die. All right, might as well head back in. Woo. So I was able to get that workout in shortly after filming that segment. It had stopped raining, at least for a little bit anyway. The rain did start again during the workout itself, and I was running some intervals, and we're going to look closer at that here in just a second at connect.garmin.com. But toward the end of that workout, I really had to pick up the pace because the lightning started to appear, and I wanted to get home and be safe. All right, so let's go to connect.garmin.com. And so I'm going to look at my computer, and I'm at the activities page, and that's all the way over to the left-hand side. So scroll all the way over if you go to connect.garmin.com until you get to activities. Now I'm looking at all the activities. And the first run was April the 5th, and that's what I was just talking about, running some intervals. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on that, and we're going to take a look, see how those turned out. So you can see I went 7.49 miles. I was around town here. My average race pace was a 7:39 mile pace. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom because that's where really all of the data sits. VO2 max was the primary benefit. I always like to see that. My average heart rate, 154 beats per minute. Pretty normal for me, especially for doing any kind of speed work. Again, 7:39 mile pace on average. My best pace was a 6:06 running those intervals. My steps per minute, 189 steps per minute. Anytime it's in the high 80s or maybe even 190 steps per minute, that's really good for me. My stride length is 1.11 meters. Average ground contact, favoring the left over the right, and that's not uncommon for me either. Because we're running intervals, I'm going to go ahead and click on intervals, and then I'm going to click on run. And so here what you see is I was running 5-minute intervals. I ran 6 of them with 1 minute recovery in between each of them. And I started out a little slower than what my threshold pace is. Typically it's run averages between a 6:50 and 7-minute mile. Here I was running a 7:05 for the first one, and then I kind of fell into the range. 6:51, 6:50, 6:54, 6:53, 6:55. So that's pretty much right where I expected to be. So overall, I was pretty happy with that workout. Okay, so let's back up now, and we'll go on to the next. And then you can see that from the 5th, we ran intervals. The 7th, of course, I did a little bit of yoga first, and then I ran that notorious now or infamous threshold run that resulted in my bummed up ankle, which, by the way, if I have to run the marathon, that's what I'm going to do. But I do plan to complete it one way or the other. I know that being on my ankle, especially if I try to run, it's going to hurt. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But hopefully I'll be able to mitigate some of that pain, even if I have to run it to get through it. So as I said, my primary goal right now has really shifted from one to being a personal best to just completing the Boston Marathon and checking that off my bucket list, because it's certainly one of my top things to do. 11.44 miles was the total distance. Average pace, 7:26 mile. So that's really good. That's really good. I was really happy with that. Let's scroll all the way down to the bottom. Again, I did that here in town. A lot of different terrain. I think that's what ended up, resulting in my sprained ankle. So, okay, threshold benefit, 154 beats per minute was my average heart rate. So that's really good. And that was at an hour and 25 minutes out on that workout. And 7:26 mile average. Again, 6:13 was the best pace, 188 steps per minute. And that's really solid for me. That's exactly where I wanted to be, 188 to 190 steps per minute come marathon day. That's what I was shooting for. Probably not what's going to happen now, but that's okay. That's okay. We're going to train to run and race another day. Average stride length, 1.15 meters. My average ground contact was pretty much 50-50. It was really close, 49.7 on my left and 50.3 on my right. So that's about as close as I can come for the most part. Okay, so let's go ahead and back up here. So that was April 5th and then April 7th. And then from here on, I'm basically just riding my bike around town. And I'm trying to honor the workouts that they're calling for. So if it's asking me to do a little bit of speed work, I'm simply trying to follow that format, but do it on my bike instead of, out running. So the workout for today was to run for 30 minutes with 10 minutes to cool down. So just an easy run. So my plan right now is simply to put about that same amount of effort into a bike ride. Because of my ankle not being 100%. In fact, yesterday it hurt so bad I was having trouble just getting around the house. Feels better today, so I think this is definitely the right choice. So we'll go ahead and we'll click on the cycling here. Just a little over 10 miles, about 10.5 miles around town. And I'll scroll down to the bottom, see what they give us for details. Primary benefit says recovery. So, by gosh, I need to recover. Pretty average low heart rate, but that's typical when I'm out on my mountain bike. It's nowhere near what it is when I'm running. My max was 148 beats per minute. About 12.5 miles an hour on average. My max speed was 19.5 miles an hour, and I was probably going downhill somewhere. Okay, so let's just go ahead and back out of that. So that was my first cycling, and then on the 10th, I took my bike out once again. So, having a hurt ankle going into the last week of a marathon training block is definitely, well, it wasn't in the plan, that's for sure. And it's certainly a bummer. So, rather than focusing on all of the negatives that come with that, I challenged myself to come up with, 5 positive things I can focus on that'll get me through to the end and on into Boston. So starting with number 1, I qualified for the Boston Marathon, and I'm super excited about that. So no matter what else happens, I will be in Boston on the start line for the 127th running of the Boston Marathon, and nobody can take that away from me. That's something I'm going to carry with me forever. Number 2 is I am getting a little better each day. So I am healing. My ankle feels a little better today than it did yesterday, and yesterday it felt a little better than it did the day before. So I will heal to run another day, even if it's not today. Number 3, I'm still able to work out, which is a great thing. Hi. So while I'm not able to run, I can still get a really solid workout out on my mountain bike, and I'm going to count that as a definite positive. Plus, it's just nice to be out on my bike on some days like today for a little bit of cross training. And then number 4 is that the injury happened in basically the last week. So it happened during a taper. And while that's, I know it may sound like a negative on the surface, the positive takeaway is that basically all of my physical gains have already been made. So I'm not going to lose anything that way. All I really need to do is to maintain the level of fitness that I've already obtained. And being able to be on my mountain bike and still get a workout will keep me or enable me to do that. So I'm going to count that in the positive column. And then number 5 is all of you. Everybody that subscribes and watches the videos, all of your support, the support that we give one another, my family, my friends, being able to document and share this experience with all of you, that's what gets me up and keeps me going in the morning anyway. So definitely a big positive. I'm super excited about sharing the journey to Boston, the race, all of that goes with it. I can't wait. I really can't wait. So while yes, I'm injured, that's a bummer, I'm not going to let it take away from my excitement of the Boston Marathon experience. So there it is. I challenged myself, and those are the 5 things that I'm going to be focused on for this next week. All right, I'm just wrapping up my long bike ride, which is a substitute for that long run today. Got lots of things to do to help prepare for the trip, so I'm going to go back and try to check some things off my list. All right, let's keep pushing forward. And here I went a little over 17 miles, so this would be the equivalent probably of a longer run. And we'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. Effect is base, and that's okay. I'll take that being on my mountain bike, being injured and still being able to work on my base a little bit. 128 beats per minute for my average heart rate, so a little bit higher. 150 beats per minute there for my max heart rate. On average, 12.7 miles per hour, 19.2 miles per hour was my best time and my best speed, I guess, on my mountain bike. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll back out of that. And let's see, so that brings me to the last of the cycling activities so far. And I still have a couple more to do because I have 2 yet easy runs. It would be just a short, probably 30 minutes or so will be my next easy run it's scheduled for tomorrow, which is Friday, and then of course a shakeout run. And I'm not running either of those times. Again, I'll be just doing that on my mountain bike, or I might even skip it all together for what would have been a shakeout run and just stick to doing my mobility stuff and a little bit of yoga, that kind of thing in my hotel. Okay, so let's go scroll down. We went a little over 13.5 miles, about an hour in total. Again, base, so still maintaining here. And 130 beats per minute, average heart rate, 151 beats per minute was my max. And when an hour, I think it was actually 35 minutes is what it had called for. So today I've got a very short interval session scheduled. Of course, I'm still not running, but I'm going to do it on my bike. So I'm going to warm up for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to ride hard for 5 minutes, recover for 1 minute, repeat that again, and then cool down for 10 minutes after. So all in all, it'll be just about maybe 35 minutes in total for the workout that is scheduled. I might go just a little bit longer than that. We'll just see where I'm at when I'm done with the interval session. I'm gonna enjoy the day. It is super warm today for Michigan. It's about 65 degrees currently. So you can see I'm not wearing a coat, no gloves today. It's just awesome. All right, I'm gonna get into it. It was 2 short interval sessions, so I did those 2 short bursts of speed. But then after that, I just enjoyed my bike ride and kind of soaked it up a little bit and did a little bit of reflecting on all of the work that got me here so far today and all of the things that are yet to come. So it was a really good experience just to be out there. I wouldn't say zen-like. Well, you know what? It was a little bit zen-like. I enjoyed it. So 13.3 miles per hour in total, or average. My fastest pace, and of course that was probably during one of those 5-minute bursts of speed for the intervals, was a little over 20 miles an hour out on my mountain bike. That's it so far for weeks 15 and 16. And again, I'll finish out week 16 tomorrow. I'll do a little bit of work on my bike, but I'm not going to do anything strenuous, just enough to keep my ankle loose or try to get it loose. It's still really bothering me, unfortunately. I do have the Vaporfly 3 in for testing, so I'm excited to put this shoe on and take it for a test run. It's just not right now, not right now. And I'm going to do a little bit of testing. I'll even put on the Alphafly 2s, the original Alphafly, the Vaporfly Next% 2, the 3s, even though I haven't run in them. I wouldn't highly recommend running a marathon in a shoe you've never run in before, but right now I'm a little bit desperate. But I'm going to be trying on all these different shoes, the Adios Pro 3, but I'm also going to try on, like I said, some of my stability shoes, some of my other just daily trainers to see which ones are most comfortable. So I will be picking the shoe that I think is going to be the most comfortable for me to get around on it. And it might be, like I said, a walk-run situation for me, but we'll see. Either way, I'm really going to enjoy the experience, and I plan to soak up as much of it as I can. Okay, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're out there staying healthy and staying safe. And my next video will be probably a little bit of the travel to Boston and that Boston experience. Maybe kind of like a travel vlog type of a situation, that type of thing. And then I'll do a wrap-up video, do a race recap video, and then a wrap-up video critiquing the training program. All right, as always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, right here on Run Tall with Sam.